Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce our next CA speaker. He is Bill Chapin. He is the SVP of Business Operations for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he will be speaking about using paid social media to sell and track ticket sales.
Great, thank you. Welcome to Boston. Hope everybody's enjoyed their conference. It's always riveting to be here, always learn something new every year. I'm really excited to pivot off the last discussion. Right at the end, they indicated that it's hard to see an ROI over a very short, truncated time period. And now I'm going to show you some strategies and some methodologies that are going to be able to show you ROI immediately. As a brand steward and as a marketer, one of the biggest disconnects that's ever occurred within the marketing and the actual ROI sphere is that you can't measure it and you can't show to ownership or leadership a direct implication of a customer journey. And why I'm so excited about what I'm going to show you today is I think what is going to be referred as the tip of the iceberg within the paid social realm is an actual journey that you can show X dollars spent to Y dollars incrementally earned. And as marketers, that's been a journey for a long, long, long time. So let's walk you through, where is it? There we go. Some industry trends. So I think many of you know this. It's not news, but let's talk about some of the top 5 digital tools for retailers, right? You've got shopping apps, you've got price comparisons, you've got product reviews, you've got referral marketing, you've got printable coupons, you've got all these different things. And I'm going to layer on top of that some industry trends. 2017 expected to generate $14 billion in social ad dollars. The challenge with all of that is, how do you measure that? And as many of you know, and Facebook's maybe here, maybe not here, doesn't really matter, they've developed a very powerful algorithm that has differentiated them in the marketplace and along with some of the other social media companies to say, hey, you're not going to leverage our platform to sell things without us now paying for that. You then also have social networks that account for 21% of the U.S. digital ad spending in 2018. It's now going to become 22%. These are not things that I'm making up. I'm getting this from eMarketer, which posted these reports. Then total digital ad spending will surpass TV for the first time in 2017. That's ridiculous, and we've all heard that. What I think is really important about that is what's the deliverable action that you can take on that? As a marketer in the National Football League and with the Kansas City Chiefs, how do I take action? So how does it work? So I'm going to make a couple of different cases. I'm going to caveat the cases with some are going to have a direct tie, and that's what I'm most excited about. Some don't because of challenges that are outside of our control, but I still can show you maybe 2/3 of the journey, not the full 180 of the journey. And in others, there's just mistakes that sometimes happen because this is a new area of measurement that isn't perfect. It's not. So you've got to go in having your eyes wide open, understanding that, yes, you're going to make this declaration of, yes, I can measure this all. But there are things outside of your control in some cases that you can't measure the whole thing. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about driving $80,000 worth of revenue. Let me qualify what the revenue is. That's going to be retail, meaning merchandise, over a targeted period of time, and ticket sales with an ad spend of about $4,500, directly attributable. So when I present this to ownership, I'm going to say directly attributable. You spent ownership $4,500, and you got $80,000. I'm betting man on this particular ownership's going to like that. Then I'm going to talk about this example of Brazil. So our kicker, Cairo Santos, is Brazilian. How do we take that and really leverage his personal brand, the fact that he is a foreign-born player from Brazil, and make those people in Brazil who are watching him even more fans and talking about him? And in true attributable way, Eric Stark, who leads the NFL digital efforts, was really helpful in this endeavor. And then we're going to talk about kind of $4,500 or 4,500 click-throughs to Ticketmaster for season ticket sales. Now, season ticket sales has many aspects to it. Not directly attributable all the way through, by the way, because no one's buying that season ticket, or few are, but most aren't buying season tickets sight unseen without and just clicking on a mouse or clicking on a screen to go buy those tickets. What we did, so basically I said in 2015 and what we're doing in 2016 with business planning, I'm going to allocate this amount of money. I'm going to take $35,000 that I would totally take for TV or radio or some other, and I'm just doing it to paid social. And I'm going to do that from August to March. Then we're going to make the efforts to track the metrics to conversions through pixels, tracking codes, and came from codes. This is the most essential part of the whole thing. There's a journey as it relates to the tracking mechanism. James Royer, who's our director of digital media, deserves all the credit for this because it's a process of setting it up perfectly to be able to have that tracking go all the way through. And even when it's set up perfectly, it doesn't work perfectly today. And then how do we test our different audiences and targeting options? So you're going to say, okay, great. How do you do that? Well, there's custom audiences and there's lookalike audiences. Nothing new. Many of you know this already. But you have to be very methodical in how you are setting it up so you can deliver upon the ROI that you're claiming to claim. So you've got the CRM database entries that you have, which we just saw the presentation from. You've got your Facebook matches, emails, the addresses of those users to create that kind of custom audience. And I'm going to talk 30,000 foot here. I'm not going to dive into the weeds on how exactly you do all this because there's lots of different strategies. Some of the strategies we employed are good. Some you may argue are not so good. That's the part of it that I love when you're creating the custom audiences. You can create them the way you want to create them. And you can include or exclude those that you don't want in there. Obviously, there's some logic behind that. You're not going to go to buyers who are buyers. You're going to go to buyers who look like buyers. Or, as a transition, lookalike audiences. You take the attributes of the custom audience, you match them psychographically, or however you want to do that, and you match the people that share the same attributes so that they're looking like the buyers that you currently have that you've excluded from your custom audience list. So now you've got two different targeting options. Within Facebook, and I'm not advocating Facebook as it relates to, I'm just sharing our experiences here, there's more detail than you care to imagine if you've ever been through the process. I actually walked through the process a couple of weeks ago just to the level of depth and breadth of how you do a campaign. It's very targeted. And as marketers, that's what you want. You want a targeted campaign so that you can deliver upon the results that I've been talking about. So let's take the case study. So the slide here shows a ticket offer, but what I'm going to be talking about is a campaign over a specific point of time. What I'm specifically talking about is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We launched a full campaign that you can't see all of the slides here because there would be not enough time to do it, that involved retail, obviously, Black Friday at our shop in Kansas City at the stadium, and then Cyber Monday as it relates to the shop experience on shop.chiefs.com, and also a ticket offer at the same time. Now, there were different campaigns within that. This slide's illustrating just the visual so you can get it there. The context is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. The action is tracking pixels, lookalike audiences, and an offer that's customly designed. In this case, what you're looking at is $25 tickets using Cyber Monday for this particular game. You can see below some of the statistics of 3,000 people reached. Let's go through it. It was an 18-to-1. So back to this right here. We drove $80,000 worth of retail merchandise and ticket sales. I'm not going to get into the split on that because that's not the point. Of between Black Friday and Cyber Monday on a $4,500 spend. What's unique about that is the timing, obviously. We wanted to take advantage of that window of merchandise. A ticket opportunity that we wanted to take advantage of, and a strategy to create the custom audiences that we were going to go after. That result came to that. That's compelling, and I will tell you, trackable all the way. So I could, if I wanted to, break out whatever I want to use, Excel, whatever document, and say X went to Y, and it's directly attributable. That's powerful. I think that is the tip, as I said, of the iceberg of what we can expect to be expected of us and what's expected of these third-party companies to help us tell a great story. And in the bridge of what CRM maybe you're facing of, how do I prove over a 12-month, 16-month, 18-month, 24-month case study, you can do in very quick amount of time with paid social. Let's talk about something that just happened. We were fortunate enough to clinch the AFC West this year and obviously leveraged that success on the field to a Facebook case study on playoff season ticket campaign. So again, this is paid social. I understand you are all very smart, but I'm not, so it required me to say paid social versus organic. This is paid. So $750, 367,000 impressions, 3,000 click-throughs. Now you're going to go, okay, you just said this is directly measurable. No, but I caveat it. This is season tickets now, different medium. What really our objective here is to make sure that our sales rep gets the best leads so that they can call and say, hey, I'm Bill Chapin, I work for the Chiefs. I think I know that you're interested in season tickets or something along those lines without sounding too weird. And now you've got a warm lead that you know has visited some aspect of your social sphere, hopefully a click-through here, and there's interest, and from a salesperson's perspective, and I used to sell, long time ago, season tickets for the Clippers. It was amazing. You have to have the buy-in from the sales rep, that they're not just making a cold call. Psychologically, for the salesperson to be able to say, I'm going to talk to someone who I know has clicked in on the social aspects of a paid social campaign, you get buy-in from that. We never talk about that, how important that is. And for our ticket sales staff, it's really important that they know that there's already interest, that they're not going to have the door just shut in their face once the call's made. So and then we have to extrapolate from that. Awesome, whatever's that, what was that? Oh, there we go, thanks. So we've got to click through there and we generate X number of leads. Now that is an ongoing story. I don't have that to tell you today because that just happened. Some of those people might have purchased season tickets, some of them might not have. Lest you forget that it's also attributable to non-sporting events. This is our good friend, everybody's good friend, Kenny Chesney. He has this awesome thing where you can basically buy tickets online for $25 and then you can be a part of the lucky hit. And the lucky hit means that after you buy it online for that $25, you go up to the box office and you get a ticket, a random ticket, anywhere in the stadium. It could be hopefully not as bad as what you were going to buy, which is the upper deck, or it could be even better. It could be down on the floor. Again, we spend $1,500. We get $130,000 in reach. And in this case, I don't have the number yet because I got to get that from the Chesney people, and they're busy doing other things. So there's some issues there as well, but I can directly attribute it that. Next, let's talk about tune-in. Obviously, ratings very important in the National Football League. Is there a way to use paid social in a relevant, timely period to the audience that I'm looking to attract on a Sunday to say it's time to tune in? Context, influence television tune-in, action, organic post with a boost. Now, this is an organic post, very competitive video that we put in here between the Raiders and the Chiefs. Real good rivalry, awesome rivalry. Going back 1963, or actually 1960. So the video is fantastic. Our production team, 65 Toss Power Traps, puts a great video together, and then we boost that. Now, do I directly attribute that? Well, I say I did $200 boost. We reached 1.2 million people. I have 197,000 views. I can then boost the increase reach by 400,000. And yes, I don't have that was a direct attributable thing to the 1% increase in rating. But I do know that I've taken my opportunity at a relevant time period. This was for a 3:25 game on a Sunday that we started launching this at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Knowing we had a 6-hour horizon, the way that Facebook works, it's not automatic. and we can start influencing that decision. Can I hopefully influence someone who has a Nielsen measurement tool at their house? Yes, hopefully. A little bit more marketing related as it relates to gray, but pinpointing it in. And hopefully over the next courses of years or months, that can be directly attributable in another way. I don't think it would be perfectly directly attributable, but obviously I think $200 to have that to hopefully increase a rating point, real important. Here's the international post message in Portuguese. Yes, he speaks Portuguese. Show of hands of anybody else who speaks Portuguese in the room. Right. Oh, one guy. Two. Awesome. Organic post to Brazil followers with boost. Results. $100. 631,000 reach. 98,000 video views on a beloved son from Brazil. Pretty cool because it tells an amazing story of the reach of the NFL, this particular player and how he's doing it. Again, not directly attributable revenue, but when I can mix and match all of these different examples together, it tells a very full picture from a marketing presence of elevating a brand, elevating an NFL brand as it relates to what's going on in Brazil and how we have broadcast markets in that country, elevating a player, elevating the game. Second to last but not least, suites and premium. I want to allow a little time for questions. Suites and premium, really challenging on a paid social standpoint. But again, what are those objectives? Those objectives are to set up calls or meetings with small to mid-sized businesses who want to engage in our premium. This is not a direct correlation, but if I can get a direct correlation to warm leads, that's very beneficial to our suite sales department. Context promotes suites and premium seatings. Leverage a video that we put together. Very target audience based on behavioral attributes. Results, 37,000 people reached, or 37,000 reached, 572 click-throughs, 20,000 video views. I take all those click-throughs. We create a list. We give that to our suite sales department. They try to create leads and opportunities off that. We've actually had $14,000 worth of club seats off this particular one that we can track. So again, very small dollar amount. I don't list it here. It was a very small dollar amount to get one lead that gets to $14,000 on the club seat. And that's an actionable step, meaning that didn't happen electronically, but it did through this premium department. So you're skeptical still on how we can tell this story? Well, I'm not alone in this. The Seahawks put a partner promotion together with Red Robin. They reached 230,000 people in the Seattle market on $250 spent. The Saints, they boosted content. They celebrated the top moments at the Mercedes Superdome. They did an organic post with the boost targeted to lookalike audiences of people who follow the Saints account. 70% of the views came from a promoted post. It's pretty impressive. It all depends on what your objectives are and how you can tell a complete story. My story, or our story here, is I want to show direct one-to-one. I want to show reach in a different marketplace, and I want to directly attribute leads that can go to sales departments that can create actionable leads and actionable dollars. That trifecta for us is a complete marketing opportunity as we now shift into 2017 business planning, and I'll now take that $35,000 budget that we had, and I'll make it about $120,000. Now, you'll say, well, does it scale? And the question is, we'll need to identify if it does scale. But my assumptions are that I can diversify it enough to show a big enough picture than to increase it from merchandise, premium, season tickets. We haven't even talked about fan loyalty. We haven't even talked about as it relates to the full gambit of special events. I haven't even talked about off-season content or driving people to draft day information, draft day activation. We haven't even talked about sponsorship activation as it relates to how do we integrate our partners and drive them to their websites. Talk about a value proposition. If we've got XYZ partner State Farm, they want to drive activation, we can spend $250, create that in the deal sheet, and drive those type of numbers to them, or whatever those types of numbers to them, they're going to see value. And value is the name of the game as it relates to partnerships. Jets boosted content. 1 week prior to the 5K, in team initiative, another team initiative, a special team initiative within the Jets world, launched a 3-day Facebook, Instagram campaign to generate registrants. Maybe not the number one business initiative for the Jets as it relates. They're probably looking to fill their building, sell merchandise like we all are. But here's a 5K to engage those who are in the New York marketplace into running. Maybe that running translates into becoming Jets fans versus Giants fans. And that journey of that life cycle of that fan behavior begins. So that's it. I went fast. I've got 8 minutes left. Questions? Yeah.
You talked about whether it's scales or not. Those first purchases you made, what was the limiting factor? Was it budgetary as you were testing?
Yeah, it was all testing. So the question was, what is the limiting factor on the $35,000 on the initial advertising campaign? I didn't want to go, hey, we're going to take $120,000 out of our TV revenue that we've typically done for the last X number of years, and we're going to try this test for the $120,000. That just doesn't seem like a good setup for me.
So had you had more, would it be reaching more? Would it be more targeted? How does that affect?
Well, I think what I said now is from 35 to 120, I'm going to, now the kind of the scope and scale can be much farther. I'm going to do something with regards to how it relates to sponsorship, team initiatives, more retail. I just showed you what we did with obviously the most successful part of the retail, which is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But now I can do other specials throughout the course of the year that are going to promote our retail business, which is important 365, not just during that time period.
Delivery of the leads, they're clicking through to your season ticket page?
Yep. And they're so good point, thank you. The question is, what are they, when they click on it, where are they going? They're filling out a form. We had a WooFoo form that they could fill out for more information. So they're putting in Bill Chapin, and this is whatever we asked for, email, and you'll be contacted by a customer service representative or a season ticket sales representative. Those are powerful leads. And again, as you all know, we've got all these ways of trying to reach fans. When they're telling you their information, and then you can act upon that, that's what is gold. Now, that's going to be really interesting to scale. Yes?
It seemed like a lot of that paid social was Facebook. Are you exploring those other channels? I know your initial slides showed how much was going into Instagram and Twitter. So with this increase in spend, are you going to be looking to do that more?
Yeah. There are different models for it. The question was, are you looking at other social media tools to do paid social? The answer is yes. We'll look at that. We have had some incongruities there. We've had some successes. We've had some non-successes. I didn't show you all that. There is trial and error here. That's real. But we will look at that. Now, some of the platforms are not ready set up for that, which is what it is. You've got to deal with that. We've had the most success as it relates to Facebook, but we'll engage with Twitter. We'll engage with, we'll engage with Instagram. Whether we engage with Snapchat or not is up to Snapchat. So the question was, how are you measuring the true incremental value? How are you measuring the disparity between if they would have bought or did you prompt them to buy because of a marketing response? I think, is that your question? Good question. I don't know if if I'm being honest with you, I don't know if we've really on this journey gotten to that level of sophistication. I think right now it's just really exciting that there's an actual trail with crumbs that we can actually tie to A to B and walk into a room and feel 99% confident that we're right. Because I mean, I think as a marketer, and you guys are all smarter than me, that's been the missing link. I mean, we just saw a whole CRM presentation on how they're trying to tie it, and there's still incongruities. That's not saying that we shouldn't do it, but this ties. That doesn't tie perfectly. We had some instances where we put the tracking codes in, we confirmed it, and it didn't work, which means the technology is not 100% consistent. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus on that, but that's real. So I think that's the first step. prove the hypothesis, and then we can look at the nuanced issues. Now, that might be not forward thinking. I didn't claim to be the sharpest tool in the shed. Yeah, well, great question. The question was, how do you selective, what criteria are you going to use? How do you avoid bombarding sponsorship content over and over again? It has to be it has to be compelling content that's integrated. How do you develop that? I've got great teams that do that. It cannot be just an ad. And we'll tell our partners that. If we're going to do this, let's go to the University of Kansas Health System, one of our largest partners. We're not going to just do an ad for you. We're going to craft this. We're going to get your buy-in. We're going to find out and identify what your objectives are. We're going to develop a storyline behind that, and then we're going to activate it and create measurable, direct response of what you are looking for from an expectation standpoint. So here's a process. You can't just throw up a 15-second ad and go, here we go. This is going to work. Boom, boom. Yes, George, just like that. Yes? So the question is, what prevents sponsors from, it's a great question, sponsors from just going out and doing paid social themselves? And I think that you've just made the argument of why they want to partner with NFL teams. They want an NFL partner, or in this case, the Kansas City Chiefs, to be endorsing that message or that content because they're using the sponsorship opportunity to elevate and amplify their program, initiative, or institution. So yes, of course, the University of Kansas Health System can do a paid social. I would bet, I'm not a betting man, but I would bet that that paid social, depending on how it was deployed, would not be as great as the way we would deploy it with a social scale, storyline, and relevant content. And that would amplify, which is our job as the help of the sponsor, amplify that story to create deeper reach and deeper audience engagement. Yes?
What performs better, custom audiences on Facebook or lookalike audiences?
It depends. The question is what performs better, custom audiences or lookalike audiences. Depends on the objective. This is where I'll go marketing on you and you can play gray, right? What's your objective? If your objective's on the retail, I could make an argument one way or the other. Because the retail purchase is a different type of commitment than I'm going to the game commitment, and I'm going to spend the next 7 hours going to a Chiefs game because I'm going to tailgate for 2.5 hours. I'm going to watch the game for 3 hours. I'm going to have the post game afterward, and so forth. George, did you have a question?
I did. So all of this is predicated on having a good social content strategy.
Yeah.
How does this help you as you go into budgeting for next year? You're on, what, 9 platforms or something in terms of social media platforms? Does this help you make the case for just social content, which is a lot of work and a lot of resources with no return?
So George's question is, how does this set you up for success going into business planning? It totally sets me up for success. I'm presenting a version of this on Wednesday to the president to say, this is why we took $35,000. We're now going to scale this to $120,000, $120,000, or some equivalent of that. And when I keep telling you about how important it is to be in top 5 in engagement when Facebook and all these things, we're building the audience. The bigger audience we build on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, the larger pool that we'll be able to take these initiatives and go against. So it works hand in hand. You've got to engage and build these audiences with compelling content. You've got to give them the right message to the right people at the right time, and then you've got to use the paid aspect that works in conjunction with all of that to monetize the opportunity. Do we have a lot more to monetize? Of course. Is there going to be a balance? Yes. How do I know that balance? I'll tell you next year. All right, thank you very much.